Welcome into the Hustle Show podcast. I am Drew Martin, joined by Chris Thurston, Adam Trigger. We got Kelly Stewart coming on in just a minute. We are brought to you by Viva Tequila Seltzer, vivatequilaseltzer.com, where you want to go to order Viva Tequila Seltzer and use the promo code, guys. Hustle. It takes 10% off. We're also on WagerTalk YouTube. Feel free to comment below, but before you do, here's the intro. Chris Thurston. Follow him on Twitter at CTBets16, I believe it is. Coming from the Northeast somewhere, maybe Boston, Massachusetts. Viva in hand. Welcome in, CT Bets.
Drew Martin Bets. It's snowing here in Boston. Go figure. You think spring is right around the corner. And Trig and I get hit with a little snowstorm here in the Northeast. But luckily for the four of us, the three of us and Joe, we will be in Vegas next week for the madness, and it is championship week, Drew Martin Bets. So I'm excited to be here, and hopefully we're going to pick some winners tonight. We're going to drink some Vivas. Hopefully we're cashing some tickets at the end of the night.
Well said, CT Bets. Guys, next Thursday at Westgate, come find the three of us. Kelly Stewart, Joe will be there. We'll all be there drinking some Vivas, cashing some tickets. I know a guy that will be doing that, Adam Trigger. Trig, welcome in, bud. How you feeling?
I feel great, Drew. I got my Viva down here. Oh, there we go. Yep, the best flavor, huckleberry. Hit Syracuse earlier. I've got plays tonight. It's going good. Yeah, we'll probably be at Westgate all weekend. So even if you're not there Thursday, just DM us. We'll make if you want to meet up and have a drink, we'll make that happen for you. So just hit us up while you're out there. It's going to be great.
Absolutely. Yeah, well said. I mean, Thursday, the unofficial start to it, and the hustle. Come meet us. I believe Friday, WagerTalk's doing something. We'll be there again Friday. Saturday, I was looking to go to the pool at some point, maybe catch one slot of games at a pool somewhere. But pretty much other than that, it's going to be total sports betting shenanigans in the Westgate Superbook. It's always fun there. So, come say what's up if you're in Las Vegas. Trig, we always started off here with kind of transparency is key, the recap section. Before we get into breaking down the games tonight and tomorrow, how'd we do last show, man?
Yeah, the last show was good. I watched it back earlier, and we kind of talked a lot of futures type stuff. So I'm just going to group all of the games we broke down into one thing because we kind of strayed in the best bet section and just broke down other games. But Chris had a big show. He had LSU plus 5.5. Rutgers plus 4.5, Oklahoma State plus 4, 3 dogs, 2 of which won outright, and LSU lost by a point. So great show for Chris. I don't know what I was thinking with UConn against Creighton. I tried to punch against the market a little bit. It didn't work out. But my best bets with Campbell and Tennessee Tech split. But if you listen to my explanation, I said the time to bet Campbell was going to be if they won that game. The next game, Campbell plus 3.5 against Gardner-Webb did cash. Drew gave a great breakdown on Auburn, things that I had no idea of, that the 3 teams use a certain basketball. It was amazing, and he gets a dream cover in overtime as they get past Mississippi State in OT. UCF on Thursday falls short. And our guest, Mark Zinno, great call on Texas A&M. They blow out Alabama, but as a 10-point underdog, not even close. And the one other thing I wanted to touch on in this section was we had another great call from one of our listeners, Shane Royal, at RoyalJS12, wins our contest from the weekend. He picked the biggest outright underdog winner, North Carolina, smashing Duke, sending Coach K off the way he deserved to get sent off. I don't know. I have no problem with Coach K, but I know some people do. But anyway, Shane, you won the contest. Shoot us a DM so we can get you some Viva. And that basically was last week.
I like it, Trig. Yeah, shout out to Shane. Great job, man. That UNC Duke game, the upset was in. So nice call there. And CT Bets, man, knocking it out of the park last show. We got big game breakdown here. You
Drew,
want to lead us
Drew,
off,
real
CT, or
quick.
should I go first?
Hold on,
Yeah,
Drew.
yeah.
I gotta just give.
Yeah.
I think Chris at one point posted 11 straight winners on Twitter, so he deserves another shout out for that. That's a pretty good run right there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it was a nice run from last Friday to Friday, and then Saturday, Drew Martin bets. I meant to actually text you about this, Drew Martin bets. It's all Julian Edlow's fault. Remember, last Saturday we're getting ready to do this show,
I do.
and he tweets out, like, I forget what he said, Drew, something like, is he ever going to lose another bet? And of course, my 3 plays from the show on Saturday, I get a push on LSU to kick off the day, lose my second game. I forget who that was. And then my best bet, Texas, who should have won the game outright in Allen Fieldhouse, of course, goes to overtime, loses by 7. CT's getting 6.5. Julian Edlow, I forgot to give him shit last night on my radio show, Sports Map Radio. Wow, I just remember that, Drew Martin bets. But yeah, it was a really good week overall. But Saturday and Sunday was a little struggle, thanks to Mr. Edlow, Drew.
I remember that, CT bets, because guys, CT was on Twitter and he's kind of just like, hey, these are my plays, and then he's won 11 in a row, like Adam Trigger's talking about, and Julian Edlow just comes up and replies the simple, like, hey, is this guy ever going to lose again? Yeah, that's not really allowed.
No.
Trig, is that allowed? No. You got to be careful when somebody's.
Let's just put this into perspective, Drew. If you did that to Kelly, you might not be alive right now.
Oh yeah.
If that was Kel, she's blocking you on every single social media platform, and you're dead. You are absolutely dead to her. So you cannot. No, that is. And what's even funnier is I don't think Julian's lost since that tweet. He's on a ridiculous run right now. So Chris,
you got to go get him back.
You should go get him back. You should go tweet. You should go tweet at him right now and see if it really is true. See if we can mush Julian tonight. Although that's really mean though. Julian's the man. I don't really want to mush his winning streak, but I think he's been on absolute fire since the weekend. So he stole CT's thunder right there, and now he's still winning bets. But that's yeah, if you did that to Kel, you'd be excommunicated. You're out of the chat. You're done. You can't do that.
Imagine doing that to me, Drew Martin bets. I'm a pretty nice guy.
Yeah, I was rooting you on. And not only do we do the hustle, but it's you're a nice guy, pounding Vivas. Go win these bets, buddy. Why
would Julian want to do that to me? It's unbelievable. Wow, I'm gonna have words with him. He's actually meeting us out in Vegas for a couple days.
Oh, is he coming out? Good. He'll be around Westgate?
Yeah, he's going out with DraftKings and staying somewhere around there, but he's going to come by on Thursday, I believe.
Cool. Hey, real quick about DraftKings, guys. Have you guys looked at the stock? It was 70 and now it's around $20. I mean, this is getting ridiculous.
Today, $18.50 I saw it at.
That's ridiculous. I mean, yeah, I don't know. I brought it up.
I'm not a stock.
Yeah, go ahead, Trig.
So I don't know. I don't know. So for someone, I'm sure a lot of our viewers, I have no idea why that would be.
Well, it's just the market's kind of hammering companies that don't make money right now because interest rates are going up. So that's a big part of it. But it's also because when they, they're a public company, so they have to release all their financials. I don't know. This is kind of hearsay of what I'm reading from other people, but the CEO paid himself $200 million or something. So he's taking money out of the company. And so as much as I want to say hey, buy it low, if that's the case and you got kind of a crook running the company, I don't know, CT bets. I don't know if I would put too much money in it,
Drew, I heard the same exact thing, and I had bought it a couple months ago. And when I heard that, I was like, "You got to be kidding me!" I mean, you have that who's running the company. That's never good for stockholders. Clearly, he's in it for himself and doesn't care about the long term. And obviously, that's why the stock's taking a little bit of a hit right now, a big hit right now.
Yeah, it might be something. Maybe look for him to be shown the door. A lot of companies do that, where the founder when they go public, like shortly thereafter, they'll get like a kind of groom CEO in. If that happens, it might be a better buy. I don't know. I own it like you, CT Bets. I just wanted to bring it up because it's so low. I haven't like bought more after reading that article, but yeah, man, is what it is. Let's get into the games, guys. We got Viva Tequila Seltzer. Viva Tequila Seltzer, our flavored tequila seltzer, because flavor is the spice of life, and we like our drinks with a kick, just as we like to live our lives. We got big game breakdown. You know, Missouri and Mississippi, it already went off. Unfortunately, it was a happy hour special, 6 p.m. Eastern. I bet the under on that if you want to get in live. That's one that I would look at. Tomorrow, I like LSU playing the winner of Missouri and Ole Miss. So there's not a number out on that yet. I kind of like South Carolina against Mississippi State. I know I'm up against both of you guys taking a flyer on the Bulldogs, which I by the way, I like that bet that you guys made to win the SEC, because last year Mississippi State went to the finals. They did lose against Memphis in the NIT, but I think that there's something to that. Teams that make runs in tournaments, you know, might be good tournament teams. But the thing is, South Carolina plays that unique defense. Frank Martin's team. I kind of like the Gamecocks there. I know I'm just hitting a couple, but I don't really have one that I really like tonight. The one that I did like, 5% play up at WagerTalk.com, but also that under, guys, is probably the big game I would go up for Missouri and Ole Miss tonight. But I'm guessing it's already going, so maybe in-game live wager that one. CT Bets, what game were you looking at?
Yeah, Drew Martin Bets. I'm going to, shockingly, the Big 12, a conference I follow very closely here. And there's one game tonight in the Big 12 because there's only 9 teams, as we all know, this year instead of 10. Oklahoma State is ineligible this year for postseason play. And so that I'm going to the 9-8 game, and that's West Virginia versus Kansas State. West Virginia, they closed out the season on Saturday, and Morgantown finally snapped a 7-game losing streak. They get a nice win, 70-64 over a pretty hot TCU Horned Frogs team, Drew Martin Bets. Taz Sherman playing great ball. It seems like he was hurt midway through the season, having trouble. It looks like he's getting pretty healthy right now, back to full strength. He had 25 points on Saturday. The Huggy Bear came out this week and said that his team had a great week of practice. The team chemistry is great. Bob Huggins has always been known for, whether he has a good season or a bad season, to always try and play well in postseason play. And I think that's what's going to happen tonight. He really wants this game. Kansas State, on the other hand, wow, we thought they were turning the corner, Drew Martin Bets, a few shows ago, and now they have ended the season. They dropped 5 in a row. They lost Saturday at home in Manhattan to OU. OU handled them pretty easily, and they're having some injury / stomach bug problems here. Nigel Pack, he had 10 points. He was in and out of the game. He had the stomach flu, and then second leading scorer Marquise Knoll. He didn't play the first game they played, Oklahoma. I thought he was going to be a big factor on Saturday. Ends up, he's missed the last 2 games. I thought he was going to play. He did not play. He is day-to-day. Bruce Weber, unsure if he's going to get the go tonight. Drew Martin Bets, I like the Huggy Bear getting the 1.5 tonight in the 9-8 game. West Virginia wins outright tonight. CT on the Mountaineers.
Mountaineers, CT Bets in a close projected game tonight. Trig, what are you looking at, big game breakdown style?
Yeah, so I'm actually I have a best bet that goes at 9 o'clock that I'm going to save for best bets. I'll break that down then. Like CT said, or I think like what you said, Drew, a lot of stuff has already gone off the board, but I've been looking for some sharp, activity throughout the day, and surprisingly, I found some. I can confirm there's some sharp action on a game that we talked about on a college basketball show this afternoon, and that's the Hartford Hawks. So you know what? Every game is a big game now. This is conference tournament. This is win or go home. So even Hartford UMBC out of the America East Conference is a big game, and there's been sharp bettors taking Hartford kind of throughout the day, drove it down from 4 to 3.5. And I kind of, going back to what we talked about on the show, I kind of agree with that. Hartford gets Moses Flowers back. He wasn't even a real factor in the last game, and they cruised past Albany, a game that I actually watched most of. I do keep an eye on. I live up in Albany, New York, so even though I went to Siena, I still like to see what the crosstown rival is doing. Hartford looked really good in that game, and I thought they were a little undervalued here. I thought UMBC maybe a little overvalued, and now it looks like we've got some confirmed sharp action on the Hartford Hawks. So that's a 7 p.m. game. Hartford now down to 3.5, but I think Hartford, interesting. They might not be in Division I much longer. There's talk of Hartford dropping down to, I think, D3 as with the athletic program as a whole. So not only is this, kind of do or die for Hartford on this season, who knows if they'll ever get back here as a D1 team. I like the Hartford Hawks in this spot to pull the mild upset over UMBC.
And Trig, why would they drop down to D3? Wait, to be in Division I, you just have to give, the 10 scholarships? I mean, you're still going to have to pay for travel and everything in D3. What's the benefit of doing that?
Drew, I'm not sure, to be honest with you. I don't know the ins and outs of it. I know it probably has to do with the other sports they offer or don't offer or whatnot. Okay. It probably has more to do with the scholarships. I haven't researched it enough to be able to kind of speak sort of intelligently on it. I just know that they have that's been talked about. I don't know if it's something that's confirmed, but the point is, I mean, this could be their last year. I would imagine it would be a couple years down the road, but it's something interesting to note that, these kids might be going into this game. It may be their last America East tournament, or, I think they're one game away from the final. So to win this game would give them a crack at Vermont, which is a massive deal. Vermont is the gold standard in that America East Conference. So I think there's a little value there, and the fact that they've gotten hit with some sharp money kind of just supports that, down from 4 to 3.5. So interesting game. But yeah, I lean toward the Hartford Hawks there, continuing this kind of little run they're on in the America East tournament.
Okay, and I think we got Kelly in Vegas. Not sure if we got her ready to rock yet. Okay, so she's coming in shortly here. Hey, question for you, Trig, because Joe and I were joking about this on the college basketball show earlier. You brought up Hartford, and it's near Siena. Going to school because a lot of people don't know that. Was it something where you would go out at night and you'd be like, oh, that kid goes to this school and this girl goes over here, and would you want, or was it totally cliquish and you stayed away?
No, Drew. So actually, what I said was on the show, the reason I watched so much of that Hartford's last game is they played the University at Albany, so UAlbany, and UAlbany is only about 5 minutes away from Siena. It's actually one of the closest geographic D1 rivalries in the entire country. They're literally down the street from each other. And so I was saying it in that Hartford's in C.T. Betts country where he grew up, middle of Connecticut, I think. But so I have no ties to Hartford. I was watching University at Albany, which is down the street from Siena. So, and I'm from the Albany area. I've lived in the Albany area my entire life. So UAlbany is one of our local programs in the capital region here. And yeah, there was definitely, in college, there's Siena bars, there's UAlbany bars, and you kind of knew who went to what school. And there was, it got heated a couple nights out, between, we didn't really go to their bars and they didn't really go to our bars. And so you kind of knew if someone was out of place. That's back in, 2005, 2006.
Oh my
I don't
God.
know, but
okay. Oh,
yeah, we used to chant safety school at UAlbany because that's, Siena's the private school, that's the public school. I don't know. Listen.
Did? Okay. That's what the Siena Saints did.
That was the thing. And Chris, I know everyone's on the edge of their seat. The Siena UAlbany basketball rivalry is back next year after a couple years off. Wow. So that'll be maybe you should take a ride down to me for a change. Yeah. Come down to that game because there'll be about 10,000 people at the MVP arena for that one. It's a big deal.
Yeah. No, I'm going to mark my calendar right now, Drew Martin Betts. I might fly Drew Martin Betts up so we could all do that. No, we won't be doing that.
Nah, no need for that. Albany, Sienna, it sounds wonderful. I'm sure you'll have a great time. But, guys, we do have a big-time guest here. You can follow her on Twitter, @Kelly in Vegas, coming straight from somewhere in, it looks like the sticks in the state of Florida. Kelly, welcome on in. How you feeling?
Sticks, somewhere in the middle of Central Florida. It is my sister's birthday. She flew in, wanted to hang out with her dad, so we're out here, and I have horrific cell phone service. I apologize. This is just an epic fail on my part, so I'm going to keep it quick.
Absolutely. Keep it quick. We appreciate you joining us. I say in the sticks in a good way. That part of Florida is a great place, Kelly.
My favorite part of the country. Are you kidding me?
Absolutely.
I don't take it offensively. Some people do, but
good.
I really enjoy coming up here. It's super quiet and lots of bugs and hot as hell, actually. I'm like sweating sitting on the porch.
Well, Kelly, don't want to take too much of your family time here and not sure on your cell phone service. So I'll just throw it over to you. Interested in two things. Your picks for tonight. You got your team playing Kansas State, and also your thoughts heading into Las Vegas. What do we need to look out for?
God, you know what? I said this yesterday, and I was hoping it was a reverse jinx, but I said, God, March Madness looks like it's going to be so chalky. We need some dogs barking. Otherwise, I'm not going to make it 5 days in Vegas with everybody. I'm just going to have a piss-poor attitude. On to tonight, I already gave out Butler on Twitter earlier. They're hanging tough right now with Xavier. Let's hope they can keep their foot on the gas. And then I did take West Virginia plus 1.5. with our good friends over at the Barstool Sportsbook. Saw some reverse line movement in this one. Listen, this is a K-State team that I've told everybody is great as an underdog, terrible as a favorite. I know the game's in Kansas City, so everybody expects them to have some sort of home court advantage on this Wednesday night, but that's just not the case. I think Bob Huggins' team is going to rally around him. They're going to get the Mountaineer win tonight, and hopefully this solidifies Kansas State getting a new head coach.
Love it, Kelly in Vegas, wanting them out the door. Good stuff, Kelly. Hey, a lot of Florida Gator stuff out there. A lot of Florida Gator
This is
gear.
Gator country. We're like 40 minutes, I think, south of Gainesville. I laughed because my dad has a Florida Gators tag on his truck, and I'm going, who are you? What are you doing? They're not even that good, especially their basketball team. One of the most infuriating teams in the country, them and Alabama, I swear, between the two of them. But anyhow, life is good. Shout out to my sister. Happy birthday to her if she is watching. And can't wait to celebrate with a ton of Vivas here in the next hour or so.
Awesome. Enjoy it, Kelly. Unless Trig. Yeah, go ahead, Trig.
Yeah. Before you go, I just want to know, if you had an 11-game winning streak and I tweeted something and mushed it, what would the punishment be? I'm just curious.
Well, that's a really great question, because I would probably just not be your friend anymore. You would get to go up with the other mushes that try to think it's cute to do something ridiculous like that. Who tried to mush your 11-game winning streak?
Well, no one mushed mine, but Julian Edlow mushed Chris's, and we were talking about trying to mush his.
I saw
so
that. Yeah,
I said, Kel, before you
shared in the group.
Kel, before you got on, I said if someone did that to Kelly, they're done. Like, they'd be done. Yeah, and I was right. That you just confirmed.
Listen, guys, I'm getting old. I have a low tolerance policy for bullshit. I don't need your negativity. Like our good friend Joe, when we were in Key West at dinner, and he was like, overtimes where dogs go to die, I had Syracuse. Like, I literally thought at that moment, like, okay, I'm really questioning our friendship, but I like his wife a lot. We go on vacation. Overall, he's a really great guy. But trust me, I was, in my mind, the wheels were turning on if his friendship was really that valuable to me. And it's an unfortunate thing. But, as you get older, you have less propensity to bullshit. And, sorry, Julian, if you're listening, I probably would not be your friend anymore.
Well, do you want to know what Kel, I didn't remember all this until we started the show, and Drew brought up my winning streak and everything. And I'm like, oh, yeah, that's right, Drew. I meant to text you about this. Remember when he does this? And then, okay, so CT starts to spiral out of control. My best bet last Saturday, if you remember, was Texas plus 6.5. Yeah. Okay, so that goes to overtime and loses by 7. Drew Martin Betts, I just remembered this, what he did. He had the audacity to do this. After the game, he tweets out, sorry, Texas backers, my money line parlay with KU is still alive. Just remember that. He's now dead to me. He is so square. He is my friend. It's ridiculous. He had KU in a money line parlay. Get the hell out of here.
You guys, see, listen, it depends on how good of friends, but I would definitely be questioning that friendship right now. He's no longer invited to Vegas. Everybody else is going to be there. I have gotten, you guys, so many texts from people that I haven't talked to in a long time. WagerTalk customers, proxy customers, friends of mine that are going to be in town. It is going to be absolutely packed this week. I feel like everybody has texted me. Jay Buff sent us all a crazy.
Absolutely, a lot of people.
We have a big announcement. Kel and I were talking to the main owner of Viva today, and he has sold it in to the Westgate, Las Vegas, and there is going to be a lot of Viva, Drew Martin Bets, Adam Trigger, for everybody to buy and drink at the Westgate Superbook next week.
I love it. I love it. It's going to be awesome. We've got the hustle party Thursday. We've got the puck time guys on Friday. Saturday, we're going to have hopefully a pool day if the weather permits, because I'm going to need some vitamin D after spending 3 solid days in a casino. And then Sunday, hopefully I just get to sleep in and not have to talk to you guys. Because if it's anything like last year on Sunday, I don't want to be friends with you guys ever again.
Yeah, we shouldn't have hung out on Sunday last year.
Anything like that, Cal. I don't want to be friends with myself.
Sunday was the worst day of my entire life, I think, and I hope to never have that ever happen again. So that's why I have an early exit strategy for Sunday. We'll see if that doesn't help. But if the dogs aren't barking in March, I may just fly home Thursday afternoon and say screw it.
Oh no, Kelly. Hey, appreciate the time.
We'll see how they go, right? Like, we're all going to be at the Westgate. We're all going to be having a great time. But
we're having a great time.
I'm very nervous. The way this year has been, it's basically been the opposite of college football. Our good friend Kenny White said over the summer, was talking to him, he's like, Kel, it's going to be your year. It's a dog year. And that was the case in college football, and it does not seem to be the case in college basketball. That's the unfortunate part. We'll see if I can't get a little 2-0 sneaker here tonight. Help me get back on the right track for championship weekend.
She's Kelly in Vegas, straight from the sticks of the state of Florida. Kelly, any final words here?
No, go Mountaineers. I need them to help me in a magnitude of ways. We'll see how it plays out. Sorry, I don't have a ton of plays tonight. I didn't really love anything, but happy to see that Butler was hanging tough before I jumped on. Let's hope that hasn't changed in the last 10 minutes.
Awesome stuff, Cal. See you in Las Vegas.
Right now with a minute left, Cal.
All right, fingers crossed. Catching 6.5. If the game landed 6, I'd be very happy for Megan and I, the Money Shots crew. She laid 5.5 last night. I took 6.5 this morning, so a 6-point win would be magnificent.
All right, let's go Butler.
Let's go. Kelly Stewart, everybody. Follow her on Twitter at Kelly in Vegas. Thanks for the time, Kelly. Always a fun time with her. Guys, she'll be out in Las Vegas with Trig, with CT Bets. I'm going to be there. Joe Ranieri, pretty much the whole crew. So if you're out there, head to the Westgate. Everybody in the chat box, welcome on in. Clint Farmer in the house as well. We got Keith Landry, Hank, Brent Hall. All you guys, man. Leg Show Magazine in the house. Thanks for joining us, guys. We got some questions on what West Virginia, Kansas State, some guys asking about. So Brent saying, do you guys think Boeheim will get suspended?
No.
Any thoughts on that? Did you see it?
Because it's Syracuse. If it was another team, he might. But Cuse is.
I didn't see what happened.
Go ahead,
Craig. I saw some tweets that said rest in peace. Like what happened?
Dude, Syracuse was my best bet earlier today. It was a game I gave out. I watched essentially the whole game, and I left for 10 minutes and missed that part. So I didn't see what actually happened, but I do know that they're not going to suspend Jimmy Boeheim's son. They just won't do it. That's just how the NCAA is. If it was now, Chris, if it was a different scenario. Let's say it was someone from Alabama, maybe they get suspended.
It was Matthew Mayer from Baylor. He'd be gone.
Gone, yeah, exactly. But Jim Boeheim's kid, any Syracuse player for that matter, Jim Boeheim's kid will not get suspended. The NCAA can't wait to they want Syracuse to make that run so bad. They're a ratings team. He's not getting suspended. Syracuse and Syracuse is probably live again tomorrow. I mean, we talked about this last week, and I feel like we've talked about this on a bunch of shows. You want to fade these top teams. I'm not convinced that these top teams really care that much about the conference tournaments. I think they want, like, some of them are more interested in just, they'll go and if they get through the first couple rounds, they'll care about the final, but they're not opposed to just, if they lose, they go home, they get a week off to prepare for the NCAA tournament. That's the big deal. So I think I would take shots at these top teams, and that's why Chris and I were on Twitter giving out a bunch of bombs that we like to potentially make runs in these conference tournaments, because the top teams don't always give a top effort. They just don't. Years ago, it was different. Now, I just don't think the coaches are as interested in playing 4 games in 4 days and burning their team out a week before the NCAA tournament. I just don't think it's a point of emphasis like it used to be.
Well, let me ask you this then, Trig, because I don't necessarily disagree with you, but the fact of putting your hard-earned money against some of these teams, clicking that button, it can be difficult. So when we're talking about, let's just talk about the SEC here. Playing in Tampa, you're going to have a team coming in at least off of 1 win, in some cases 2, depending on how their regular season went. They might be on a winning streak here. And then we got the top 4 for the SEC, right? All 4 of these teams are going to be pretty highly seeded in the tournament. They pretty much check these boxes of the situation you're talking about. Auburn, Arkansas, Tennessee, Kentucky. You're going to bet against all 4 of those teams? How are you going to do this?
No, Drew, there's never something that you just kind of blindly do, right? It's always a case-by-case thing. But, like, I'll just go back. So one of the teams Chris and I targeted as, like, a team we think could potentially come out of nowhere and win a conference tournament was Mississippi State. And I go back and look at Mississippi State during the regular season. They took Auburn and Kentucky to overtime in games that they very well could have won. They beat Arkansas. And so, like, I look at that and say, you know what? They've played with the best teams in this conference. And Mississippi State needs to essentially either win this tournament or come real close, or they're not going to the NCAA tournament. So I'd rather have a team like that in that situation than, let's say, like a Kentucky who, it'd be nice to win the SEC tournament, but they have bigger fish to fry, right? Like, they're trying to win a national championship. And it's just, I think the later you get in the tournament, the less that becomes a thing. If teams get to, like, the semifinal round or the finals, they want to cut those nets down. But I'm talking, like, the early rounds, the 12 o'clock tip on, like, a Thursday or Friday. Typically, you don't always see the elite effort from the elite teams. So I think that they tend to be good fades because it's just like human nature. Like, and then once you get deeper into the tournament, I would be a little bit more weary of, like, taking a shot against, like, a Tennessee or Kentucky, because okay, now it's on. Like, they know that it's, they're 1 game away from cutting down nets, getting a trophy. So it becomes a little bit more real. But I think in these early rounds, especially if you're getting a huge number, I think they're great bets to go against some of these, like, kind of big name, highly seeded teams.
Okay. I got another question out there, because I've been kind of going back and forth in my head and I want to bounce it off of you guys. And anybody watching, feel free to chime in the chat box. And if you're watching on replay, feel free to reply on the WagerTalk YouTube channel. All right. Line moves are huge this time of year. Like, totals wise, they're getting pushed down. The average move is probably like 2 points to the under, 1.5 anyway. And sidewise, we're seeing more moves. And I got something here, because towards the end of college basketball, we're getting, and add in the fact that legalized betting now, I think we're getting a lot of public bettors entering the marketplace. And a lot of people talk about, Trig, you do a lot. And it's true, the sharp move. Well, at this time of year, this is not the same move, CT Bets, as it was in, say, a December game when there's not that many eyeballs on college basketball and it moves 3 points. If a game moves 3 points now, that just might be one guy's opinion, and then a lot of people tailing on that. I'm not looking at these line moves the same that I was in November, December, January. Do you have any thoughts on that, or you think I'm off?
No, I totally agree with you, actually. And I think I said this on our show back when football playoffs were going on as well. And I kind of throw it out the window during March Madness and NFL playoffs, because it's just there's so much public money coming in on these games. And I just tend to zone in on who I like and how I make the number, because obviously we see in March Madness, they love the dogs, right? They love the public Cinderella. Like that's great for the public. And I just kind of zone that out totally. And I'm one to, like Trig, kind of fade the public a little bit on a game, right, where the money is going. And I kind of throw that out the window, Drew Martin bets. So I completely agree with you. And would I make the number? What our good friends Kenny White makes the number. Our good friends Paul Stone makes the number. I'm looking at those and my own, and I'm reacting that way. I don't like I don't depend on the public to determine my pick. And you'll see that tonight when I give my best bet, actually.
I like it. And Trig, any quick thoughts on that?
Yeah.
You agree, or anything to add to it?
No, I really do agree with that. What I'll add, well, the one thing I really agree with, and like March Madness is very unique in the respect that like a lot of the underdogs are public, and that's not the case in like we always say, oh, that's the square dog, that's the square, like we kind of throw it around like tongue in cheek a little bit, but in March Madness, like a good number of the dogs will be like public back. That's more of a recent thing. That was not the case 10, 15 years ago. But now, like, I think people have just become so enamored with, like, the upset in March Madness, like taking the lower seed in their bracket and stuff like that, they are happy to take the sort of underdog team catching a few points. And the other thing that I want to make a point of that I like, so Joe Ranieri and I talked about this the other day, and Chris and I have talked about this. There's not as many places making the odds anymore than there used to be. Like it's a lot of copycat stuff now. Like you have a couple books that kind of set the market, and they set it for the whole market. And these odds makers are so good that they almost like weed out a lot of the sharp action before it even happens. Like for example, today was a game we talked about this afternoon, Colgate Navy. Like they just hang a number. Like they don't even let you beat them anymore in a lot of cases. They just hang a number. Like they'll just say, okay, Colgate -7. I feel like a few years back, you would have gotten like Colgate -4 or 5, and the sharp bettors would have bet it up to 7. Like they would have got in, bet it up to 7, and then you would have been forced to decide if you want to dance at 7, right? If you want to get in or not. And now I feel like a lot of these games, like when Chris and I were in Texas, like every game, Tennessee -3 against Auburn, Baylor open -3.5 against Kansas. It's like they're just like they know where the sharp bettors want to go, and they just block it right away. Like they put out, there was a good one last weekend, Tennessee like -6 against Arkansas, right? Like they knew that Tennessee was going to be every sharp bettor's like wet dream last week because of like the run Arkansas was on and the potential for like a letdown. And they just said, okay, you want to bet Tennessee? Well, you're going to have to lay 6 to do it. Sure enough, the crazy ending, it lands 4. But so I think like just to kind of bring it full circle, go back to like what the original question was and what Chris said, I think you need to kind of just trust your handicap and not get too sucked in to the sort of the outlying factors, especially in March when there's just a lot of other things playing into the betting market.
Yeah, good point there, Trig. I mean, it starts offshore, and to Keith's point in the chat box, agree. It's an entire season of sample size data and metrics to support it. So yeah, it makes for a sharper number come, March than in December and January. So that makes sense too. And you see one book offshore put up their number, and then, probably about 2-3 hours later, it takes Las Vegas to put out their number. And sure enough, sometimes they'll be 2 to 3 points off. And to your point, Trig, like I saw it with LSU. LSU getting healthier right now, and I was thinking I'm all sharp. I'm riding under the radar, literally talking about it on the show under the radar right here on the WagerTalk YouTube channel. But to your point, they were onto it too. Like Ken Palm had it like plus, or I think it was -3, and sure enough, Circa and them they released it at 5, and I'm like, man, that's 2 points there that shouldn't have been there. And so it's more than just one team, Trig. It's kind of they're doing that a lot. I don't know. It's a little frustrating.
I feel like I've been seeing it like constantly. There is so many scenarios that I can even think of, like within the last couple weeks. I mean, I'm sure throughout the course of the season, there's been a multitude of them where I basically had to sort of just like pass on a game because I knew even though I really liked the side, I knew that I was like being forced to lay a number I shouldn't lay. Arizona hosting UCLA comes to mind. Arizona was -7. They ended up covering, but like I felt like it was crazy to lay 7 there. Illinois hosting Wisconsin, I want to say the spread was similar, laying 7, and I was just like, and they covered, and it's like, but is that like the right long-term decision to lay that number when you kind of know you're being forced to pay a premium? I'm not saying you necessarily want to go against it. Like we talked Colgate Navy earlier. That's a game that goes tonight. Like, I think Colgate is the better team, but I think if you were going to go with a numbers play, you kind of have to be on Navy. Like, they're giving you like free points that shouldn't be there. But does it, like, Colgate could come out and win by 20, and I'm not surprised. You know what I'm saying? It's like kind of just like. But when you're not a huge volume bettor and you like to be lower volume anyway, it's easier to just cross them off. So it's maybe a blessing in disguise in some cases, but it's definitely something I've noticed more in the last, like, I would say year or two than a few years back. I feel like you had crazy line moves every day in college hoop where like you'd have sharp people come in and bet +1 and the game would go off like 3.5. I just haven't seen that as much anymore. I feel like they just put out 3.5. Don't even give you the chance.
Guys, we're getting up against it time-wise. Make sure to check out WagerTalk live odds screen, the best free live odds in the business. We're talking about these line moves. Best place to do that, guys, is the WagerTalk live odds screen. You can see the line moves when they happened, offshore, in Las Vegas, FanDuel, DraftKings, all of it, guys. WagerTalk live odds screen, top plays up and available for March Madness. Huge discounts at WagerTalk.com. We are brought to you by Viva Tequila Seltzer. Coming to a store near you. You can also buy them on Viva Tequila Seltzer, the website. It's up and running, and you can use the coupon code HUSTLE at checkout for 10% off. Viva Tequila Seltzer, refreshing and drinkable hard seltzer, 88 calories, 0 carbs, 0 sugar. That's important. 4.5% ABV. Guys, we will be drinking Vivas in Westgate in Las Vegas. Come watch the games with us Thursday and Friday of the tournament. CT Bets, Adam Trigger, myself, Drew Martin, Kelly Stewart, Joe Ranieri, they'll all be there. CT Bets, man, we got to get some final thoughts here. Did we leave anything else out before we get to best bets?
There's a couple games that I've been looking at for tomorrow, a couple of kind of ugly ones that I have my eye on, Drew Martin Bets. And that's Maryland +3. Obviously, Trig and I are on Maryland as kind of a long shot future there in the Big Ten. Really like their backcourt there, both of us, with Eric Ayala and Fats Russell, the transfer from URI. No coaching has obviously been a problem there all year long, but we took a shot on them. They just lost to Michigan State on Sunday. Drew Martin Bets, I was on Maryland. I'm going to give it another go tomorrow, most likely, with Maryland +3. And another really, really ugly one tomorrow, Drew Martin Bets, is Iowa State +8. Sounds crazy versus Texas Tech. Iowa State was actually playing really good basketball outside of their blowout loss to Oklahoma State a couple weeks ago. They had won 4 in a row, and this past Saturday, they gave Baylor a really run for their money on Saturday night. They took the lead late there and really made Baylor hit some shots down the stretch, and they did, and ended up pulling away. But Iowa State got the cover, and I think I said on the show on Saturday that I liked Iowa State plus the points, which cashed Drew Martin bets. So those are two I have my eye on for tomorrow, and that's Maryland +3 and Iowa State +8.
All right, CT bets. I like it, man. And guys, I guess I can start off best bets section here with the game I like the most, and I just missed my client card here. Mainly, the reason why is because coming into conference tournaments, especially on a neutral site, and on top of that, a site that doesn't normally host college basketball, talking about the SEC tournament here in Tampa, is the reason I kind of stayed off of this. But I bet it personally. Georgia, Vanderbilt, up and over the total. We can get it as low as 143 right now, guys. The last time they played, they scored more than 160 points. I've been riding these Georgia over the totals for like the last 2 months now. It has been a huge money maker. They have the worst defense by far in the SEC. It's a bad defense. I mean, I'll say for Power 5 conferences, it might be the worst defense. Vanderbilt, they're one of those teams that doesn't necessarily go up tempo at all costs, but if the other team wants to go up tempo, they'll run with them. And sure enough, like last time they played, a ton of points scored and only getting 143 here. I don't love betting the overs in these neutral site conference tournaments. I just think there's more value there than the market realizes. So up and over 143 is the low water mark. Georgia and Vanderbilt. That's the nightcap in the SEC tournament tonight, opening round. So that's my best bet. Trig, throw it over to you. Final thoughts for the show and your best bet, buddy.
So, final thoughts, Drew. I got to eat my words here a little bit. Friend of mine, Freddie Mills, great follow on Twitter, tweets out a lot of good stuff for free. At Freddie Mills 7 just DM'd me and said Buddy Boeheim did get a game. So they did give him. It looks like due to I guess maybe the Syracuse media is already reporting it or whatnot. It looks like Buddy Boeheim is going to get that game suspension tomorrow. So that's definitely something to keep in mind for that Syracuse-Duke game at 12 o'clock Eastern tomorrow. My best bet did make my client card. It is my final best bet for the night, and I'm on the UTEP Miners. I forced CT to hop on with me and take the Miners at 50-1 to win Conference USA tournament. Their first game goes tonight. Listen, UTEP was a team that I loved coming into the season. Joe Golding took the UTEP job after what he did last year at Abilene Christian. I thought he did a tremendous job there, and I think UTEP was a great fit for him. They just haven't been healthy all year. They are finally getting to the point where Sule Boom, Keontae Kennedy are all healthy at the same time, and they've started to figure out Golding's sort of high-pressure system a little bit. They're a defensive team, which played extremely well in that conference tournament last year. If you guys remember, North Texas came out of nowhere, but they were not the favorite to win that Conference USA tournament last year. And they won it with these low-scoring, grinded-out defensive efforts last year in what's a really unique venue. The Ford Center at the Star, they've got the two courts going at the same time, tends to be lower-scoring games, and defense tends to play well there. So UTEP, healthy. Joe Golding, I think, is an awesome coach. I think they got a real shot to run the table and win the Conference USA tournament, and that means I think they have a chance tonight as a short favorite against Old Dominion. I laid the -135. UTEP on the money line. Best bet.
I like it. ODU's decent team, but you're right. UTEP is very good, Trig. Also, interesting note there. You mentioned it. Low scoring in Conference USA. I think all the games have gone under. I wouldn't be surprised, guys, if you bet all the unders, you make some money in CUSA tournament. Kind of a weird setup there.
Yeah, you got two courts playing at the same time. It's in the Cowboys football practice facility.
Yeah.
It's got to be just – now, I wonder where that kind of goes the other way, because these players, it's the third or fourth year that the tournament's been there. So they've got to maybe start to get used to it a little bit, but you don't play there all year, and then you get there, and it's this weird setup. So who knows? Maybe, the unders cashed like crazy there the last couple of years. So it's, I guess, something to keep an eye on.
It's kind of a sports bettor's dream. Like it'd be fun to go to, like 2 games going at the same time, watching them. I don't know. Maybe it's something, bucket list thing later. We try to do with the hustle or something, maybe next season. But CT Bets, man, final thoughts for the show, the grand finale, if you will, from CT Bets 16 on Twitter, buddy.
Sure, Drew Martin Bets. I'll give my best bet first, and I'm going to the Pac-12. That's the number 6 game. Washington Huskies versus the number 11 Utah Utes. I gave this Huskies team out Super Bowl weekend as my best bet when they smashed Arizona State at home in the late night special, Drew Martin Bets. And this is the late night special again tonight, 11:30 Eastern tip, Drew Martin Bets. And I am coming back with the Washington Huskies on the money line tonight, -135 to get the first round win in the Pac-12 tournament versus the Utah Utes. Washington has closed the season out very well, getting the back-to-back wins versus the Oregon schools, Oregon and Oregon State. They're led by senior guard Terrell Brown. He actually led the Pac-12 in scoring and steals. This team is a lot better than Utah Utes. Utah Utes has been pretty much just as bad as Oregon State. It's been very, very close. This is one of those games where I'm throwing the public versus the sharps out the window, Drew Martin Bets. This line opened at -1. It's obviously taken a lot of money, both sharp and public. It's up to -2.5. I like the Huskies to win this game tonight. I'm laying it on the money line, -135, and I fully expect them to get the win tonight, Drew Martin Bets, to kick off the Conference of Champions. Washington Huskies, -135, CT best bet tonight.
Like it, man. Good stuff. Can't wait to see you guys in Las Vegas. Saturday show, though, right? 11 a.m. or?
Yep.
No. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, 11 a.m.
We're ready to go.
That's before all the games start. We're back on Saturday here.
Okay, so Saturday, guys, WagerTalk YouTube channel, come back and join us. We'll be here breaking down the large Saturday game and then the games, and then also in Las Vegas next week. Come and join us at the Westgate. Chris Thurston, Kelly Stewart, Adam Trigger. I am Drew Martin. Guys, make sure to check out VivaTequilaSeltzer.com. Coupon code HUSTLE at checkout gives you 10% off. Viva, our belief is to live long, live well, and live it up. Hashtag Viva up. Guys, best of luck with your bets. Thanks for tuning in. Please smash that like button. Feel free to reply below on the YouTube channel. Best of luck, guys.